You listen to me? You're asking for the virus. Stop it right now. You stop that fear right now. Now you stop that fear. Cut it out right now. Fear is sin. It's not okay.
For many years, Kenneth Copeland has been one of the biggest names in television ministry, with millions listening to his messages and following his teachings. Yet behind his public image, questions and speculation have continued to surround him.
And suddenly the Lord said this to me, and I jumped up, ran in there, and wrote it down. This will be over much sooner than you think. I'm still Lord over the nation. I'm on the throne, and faith in me changes.
Recently, attention has turned to something that was allegedly found inside his private study. Some believe it may shed light on long-standing rumors, while others think it could reveal a side of him few people have seen. So, what was reportedly discovered? Join us as we explore the details. The shocking finding in Kenneth Copeland's study. For many years, Kenneth Copeland has remained one of the most talked-about religious leaders in America. His supporters believe he has helped countless people strengthen their faith and trust God. But not everyone sees him the same way. Over the years, many critics have raised serious questions about his teachings, his lifestyle, and the large amount of money connected to his ministry. Those questions have followed him for decades and continue even as he grows older. As Kenneth Copeland entered the later years of his life, members of his family began taking a more active role in speaking on his behalf. One of the loudest voices has been his granddaughter, Kenneth Copeland Acuna. She has publicly defended her grandfather and has said many of the stories told about him are not true. She believes many people have misunderstood him. She also believes that the media has often presented only parts of his words instead of showing the full picture. Courtney has become one of the public faces of Kenneth Copeland Ministries. She has taken on a leadership role and has worked to help the ministry connect with younger people through modern technology and online platforms. She also appears beside her grandfather in public conversations where they discuss many of the issues that have surrounded him for years. Her goal is clear. She wants people to see Kenneth Copeland differently. She wants his life and ministry to be remembered for faith instead of controversy. But changing public opinion is not easy. The biggest criticism against Kenneth Copeland has always been his wealth. Many people question how a preacher became one of the richest religious leaders in the country. Reports have often pointed to his expensive homes, private airport, luxury cars, and several private airplanes. Critics argue that this lifestyle does not match the humble example many believe Christian leaders should follow. They believe a pastor should live simply instead of enjoying great luxury while asking people to continue giving money to the ministry. Supporters answer these claims differently. They say Kenneth Copeland has spent many years building a worldwide ministry that reaches millions of people. They argue that the ministry owns many of its assets for work purposes and that success should not automatically be seen as something sinful. Still, these answers have not stopped the criticism. Every time pictures of his homes or airplanes appear online, public debate starts all over again. Another issue that has followed Kenneth Copeland is the message he has preached for many years. He is widely known for teaching what many call the prosperity gospel. This teaching says that faith, obedience, and giving to God can open the door to financial blessings, good health, and success. Many people have accepted this message with hope. They believe God wants His people to live blessed lives. Others strongly disagree. They argue that the Bible also speaks about suffering, sacrifice, and difficult seasons. Critics believe the prosperity message can give people false hope by making them think that enough faith will always remove sickness or financial problems. Some also worry that people may feel guilty when blessings do not come, because they may think their faith was not strong enough. One controversy became famous around the world after Kenneth Copeland spoke about commercial airline travel. During a discussion about private airplanes, he described commercial flights as a long tube filled with demons. Those words quickly spread across television, newspapers, and the internet. Many people believed he was calling ordinary passengers demons. The statement became one of the biggest public relations problems of his career. Later, Kenneth Copeland explained that he was not speaking about the passengers themselves. He said he was talking about spiritual problems and negative influences found in the world. He also explained that private airplanes allowed him to prepare himself spiritually before preaching without distractions. His granddaughter later defended him by saying the original statement had been taken out of context. Even with those explanations, many people remained unconvinced. They believed his words showed that he looked down on ordinary travelers while enjoying the comfort of private aviation. The debate became even stronger because many people could not understand why a preacher needed such expensive transportation. Questions also began to surround the leadership of Kenneth Copeland Ministries itself. The organization has remained largely under the control of family members for many years. His son served as a top leader, and now his granddaughter has stepped into another important position. Critics argue that keeping leadership inside the family gives the ministry too much control in the hands of a small group. As criticism continued to grow, many people began asking an even bigger question. Where did Kenneth Copeland's most controversial ideas really come from? Some wondered if the answers were hidden inside his private study, where he prepared his sermons and teachings. Could that room have held the missing pieces to a story people have debated for decades? No verified evidence has ever shown that anything shocking was found there, but the mystery has only fueled more speculation. Beyond the criticism, the headlines, and the endless allegations, what happened when Kenneth Copeland's own family began facing questions that money, private jets, and public statements could not answer? Let's find out. Family defense meets difficult questions. While Courtney Copeland worked hard to defend her grandfather's name, another subject quickly became impossible to ignore. It was not about money, airplanes, or expensive homes. This time, it was about something much more personal. It was about health. For many years, Kenneth Copeland had preached that God is able to heal the sick. Many people listened to these messages with hope. Some said they experienced healing after following his teachings. Others continued to believe his message even when they faced difficult health problems. But as Kenneth Copeland grew older, people began to notice that age was affecting him just as it affects everyone else. His family could see the physical pain that came with old age. This became especially difficult for Courtney. She openly admitted that watching her grandfather suffer was painful for her. She asked why someone who had spent most of his life preaching about healing still had to go through pain at nearly 90 years old. She struggled to understand why healing did not happen immediately. Her words showed that even strong believers can have moments when they ask hard questions. She openly admitted feeling frustrated, giving viewers a rare glimpse into the Copeland family's private struggles. Her comments sparked debate, with some expressing sympathy while others questioned whether real life always reflects the promises often associated with prosperity preaching. Attention soon shifted to another chapter of Kenneth Copeland's story. He explained that many years ago, while praying, he believed God spoke to him about teaching what he called the laws of prosperity. According to Kenneth Copeland, this became one of the main directions for his ministry. He later said that one of the books that influenced his understanding was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This statement surprised many people because Napoleon Hill was not known as a Christian teacher. Instead, he became famous for writing about success, positive thinking, and personal achievement. Critics quickly questioned why a Christian preacher would use ideas from someone whose beliefs were very different from traditional Christianity. They argued that the source of those ideas mattered just as much as the ideas themselves. This debate has continued for years. Supporters say Kenneth Copeland simply learned useful principles about discipline, faith, and success. Critics believe those teachings borrowed too much from ideas outside the Bible. Another issue that often appears in discussions about Kenneth Copeland is his collection of airplanes. His family proudly says that many aircraft have been given away over the years. They present these gifts as proof of generosity. According to Courtney, Dozens of airplanes have been donated during the ministry's history. To supporters, this shows a willingness to bless others. But critics tell a different story. They argue that many of these airplanes stayed within the same circle of well-known prosperity preachers. Instead of seeing the transfers as generous donations, they believe they were simply passed from one ministry to another. This disagreement has remained another reason why Kenneth Copeland continues to attract public attention. Pray over them. Many of the letters came from people going through some of the hardest moments of their lives. Some were asking for healing from serious sickness. Others were struggling with money problems, family troubles, or emotional. This change also shows that the family is preparing for the future. Kenneth Copeland has spent decades building one of the world's best-known television ministries. Now the responsibility of protecting that legacy is slowly moving into the hands of the next generation. Even so, rebuilding a public image is never easy. Many people have already formed strong opinions after years of watching interviews, sermons, and news reports. Some believe Kenneth Copeland has faithfully served God throughout his life and deserves respect for the work he has done. Others believe the questions surrounding his teachings, wealth, and lifestyle have never been fully answered. What happened when a former insider decided to break the silence and share what they claim to have witnessed behind the ministry's closed doors? Let's delve deeper. A former insider breaks the silence. A former employee of Kenneth Copeland Ministries decided to speak publicly about what they said they experienced while working inside the organization. The interview quickly gained attention because the person was not speaking as an outsider. They had worked inside the ministry and claimed to have seen how many things were handled behind the scenes. According to the former employee, they accepted the job with excitement because they believed they were joining a ministry that was fully committed to serving God with honesty, kindness, and compassion. Like many others, they admired Kenneth Copeland and believed the ministry was changing lives through its message of faith and hope. They expected to work in an environment where Christian values were practiced every day. At first, they felt grateful for the opportunity to become part of such a well-known ministry. However, they said those feelings slowly began to change. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, they claimed they started noticing things that made them uncomfortable. Little by little, they began asking questions in their own mind. They said the ministry they saw behind closed doors did not always seem to match the picture that millions of people saw on television. This difference slowly became harder for them to ignore. Instead of finding clear answers, they said their concerns continued to grow until they finally decided they could no longer keep quiet. They believed people deserved to hear what they had personally experienced during their time inside the ministry. One of the biggest concerns they shared involved the thousands of prayer requests sent to Kenneth Copeland Ministries every week. According to the former employee, many people wrote deeply personal letters because they believed Kenneth and Gloria Copeland would personally read them and pray over them. Many of the letters came from people going through some of the hardest moments of their lives. Some were asking for healing from serious sickness. Others were struggling with money problems, family troubles, or emotional pain. Many of these supporters also included financial donations because they believed they were helping God's work while asking for prayer. The former employee explained that they worked in the department that handled incoming mail. Because of this, they said they saw how the letters were processed every day. According to their account, ministry workers handled and sorted the mail while praying over large groups of unopened letters. Former employees claimed they never saw Kenneth or Gloria Copeland personally read supporters' letters, as mail staff reportedly handled them instead. They also alleged that many reply letters, though appearing personal, were generated using computer systems, raising concerns among some supporters. They said these letters could easily make people believe Kenneth Copeland had personally read their message and written back to them. The former employee admitted they understood that a large ministry receiving thousands of letters every week could never answer every person one by one. Even so, they believed supporters should clearly understand how the process worked. They felt people deserved complete honesty about who actually handled their letters. This became one of the first moments when they began questioning whether everything inside the ministry matched the image presented to the public. As time passed, these concerns continued to grow. The former employee explained that leaving the ministry was not a quick decision. It happened slowly after many months of thinking carefully about everything they had seen. They said no single event caused them to leave. Instead, many small concerns built up over time until they reached a point where they felt they could no longer remain part of the organization. After leaving, they spent more time thinking about their experiences before finally deciding to speak publicly. They believed remaining silent would only continue raising questions in their own heart. They wanted people to hear their side of the story based on what they claimed to have personally witnessed while working inside the ministry. The former employee also described what they believed was an atmosphere that discouraged workers from asking difficult questions. According to their account, they expected a warm Christian workplace where everyone could speak honestly with one another. Instead, they claimed many employees preferred to stay quiet. They said very few workers ever had direct contact with Kenneth or Gloria Copeland. They also claimed there was an unwritten understanding that employees should not casually approach or speak with them unless it was necessary. According to the former employee, many workers simply focused on doing their jobs and avoided anything that might bring unwanted attention. Whether those fears were true or not, the former employee said many workers believed it was safer not to speak up. Looking back, the former employee said this atmosphere affected many people working inside the ministry. Were the criticisms only about those around Kenneth Copeland, or did his own words and actions create even greater controversy? Stay tuned for more. Kenneth Copeland's Prophecies, Wealth, and Financial Scrutiny. For many years, Kenneth Copeland openly said he believed he would live to be 120 years old. As he grew older, he continued to speak with confidence about his future. During one church service, he told his congregation that God had shown him what would happen in the coming years. He said that 2025 would bring new life to the nation and that 2026 would be a year of major change. He also said God had revealed the exact day he would die. According to him, he would die on December 6, 2056, which would also be his 120th birthday. He shared this as a certain promise from God, not as a personal wish. His words surprised many people and quickly became a major topic of discussion. Some believed his message completely, while others questioned how anyone could know the exact day of their death many years in advance. His statement added to the many discussions that had followed him throughout his long ministry. Questions also continued to grow about his past prophecies. Over the years, Kenneth Copeland made several public predictions about major events. Some of these included political elections and the COVID-19 pandemic. Critics argued that several of those predictions did not happen as he had said they would. This caused many people to question whether his prophetic messages were truly accurate. Some believed that repeated failed predictions should make people more careful about accepting future claims. Others remained loyal to him and believed that his ministry still carried an important message of faith. Even with the growing criticism, his supporters continued to stand by him, while others remained doubtful about his public declarations. At the same time, attention also turned to the wealth connected to his ministry. Kenneth Copeland Ministries became one of the largest religious organizations in the country. Its headquarters covered a large piece of land and included offices, television studios, warehouses, and its own private airport. The ministry also owned several private aircraft that were used for travel. Reports described a large family home with luxury features, along with expensive watches, vehicles, and other valuable property linked to the ministry. These reports created strong public debate. Some people believed the success and wealth showed God's blessing on the ministry. Others questioned whether such an expensive lifestyle matched the message of humility, sacrifice, and service that many Christians believe religious leaders should follow. Public concern over the ministry's finances later led to a government investigation. The inquiry was started to examine whether donated money was being used properly by several large ministries. Financial records were requested as part of the review. Kenneth Copeland Ministries challenged parts of the request and did not fully provide all of the information that investigators wanted. During the investigation, some former employees also shared claims about how the ministry operated. Their statements added more attention to the growing public debate. After several years, the investigation ended without any legal action or penalties against the ministry. Even though no punishment followed, the questions about finances, leadership, and accountability continued. What do you think about Pastor Kenneth Copeland's ministry? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed exploring the controversies, claims, and public debates surrounding Kenneth Copeland, please like, subscribe, and watch the next video for more stories. See you there.